You crank the distortion. Endlessly turn all the EQ knobs on your amplifier. Fuck with pedals. Buy new pedals. Endlessly adjust EQ curves. You've bought every amp sim on the market, but your guitar tone still sounds like shit. Do you want your next track to sound like Periphery? Stay tuned to find out how you can take your guitar tone from this to this. Let's begin. Before we move on, hit the like and subscribe button. Oh, good. You've got your guitar all set up and ready. Your guitar is set up, right? Whoa, Junior. Before you can have a killer sound, you've got to start with a killer source. Let's grab a proper guitar for what we're trying to accomplish today. Ah, that's better. Don't forget to make sure you're in tune and set up the intonation properly as well. Wonderful! Now let's plug it in. What on earth? How old is that cable? Now how do you expect to get anything good out of that? Let's switch to a new, reliable cable. Much better! An old cable that cracks and cuts out will never do when trying to get killer tones. The same thing goes for the electronics in your guitar. Now that your guitar is set up and you're reliably connected, let's give her a chug and see what we're working with. Oh my, champ. That will never do. Let's start from scratch, shall we? Set all the knobs to noon. Now let's make our first move. No, not at the amp, champ. At the cabinet. We can't dial in a good tone if the source capturing it is in the wrong spot. Let's position our microphones properly, yes? Let's start with the dynamic to capture the high frequencies. Move the mic near the speaker, as close as you can get it to the center. Good. Now move it over slightly until the hiss dies down a little. Oh, not too much now. We still need some of that grit for later. Ah, that's better. Now let's bring in the condenser. A ribbon mic will work very well here also, but we've got the condenser for today. You'll notice there's much more low end on this microphone. That will help fill out your killer tones so it's not so painful to listen to. Now do just as before. Let's start at the center and move to the side. Good. Now move it downward to suit your preference. You can even back it away a bit to increase the depth perception and add some room feel. Magnificent! Now listen to that. You're 80% there and haven't messed with a single knob. Let's switch the real cab over to an impulse response just for convenience. Now it's time for the fun part. No, not pedals. That's right, Junior. Let's set the knobs on our amp. Whoa, cowboy. That's way too much gain. Play a chord. Go on. That's pretty mucky and gross, huh, champ? Try turning it to 12 o'clock. Now, before we can set the gain, we need to saturate the tubes a little. With a real amp like this one, it doesn't take a whole lot. Especially in a small room like this. Too much volume will blow your eardrums. Good luck achieving a good sound with that. On an amp sim, or plugged into a torpedo capture like we are here, let's turn the level knob until you hear a full richness come through. You'll notice introduced warmth that can only be achieved by pushing the tubes. Now it's time for the gain knob. Chug away as you dial it back. Stop! Hear how it sounds weak now? Turn it up just a little past that until it just saturates the sound. Amazing! Go ahead, champ. Play that chord again. Would you listen to that? Hear that note definition? Now we've got a good amount of gain. Let's dial in that EQ. Starting from the 12 o'clock position, play a little ditty while moving the bass knob all the way down and all the way up. Do it quickly. This will help ensure you don't lose your perception due to familiarity. Overexposure to a sound can cause you to tune things out, losing your perception of what you're actually doing. Ear gremlins will come toss a blanket over your ears if you're not careful. No, not today, little gremlin. Good job! Now that you've heard the extreme ends of what you're dialing in, begin to narrow down that sweeping motion until you reach the sweet spot. Remember, if you find yourself making minor adjustments for more than a few seconds, make extreme sweeps again to keep away those ear gremlins. Wonderful! Let's repeat that same procedure with the mid and treble knobs. Amazing! Just listen to those chugs. Now we can move on to the presence knob. Starting again from the 12 o'clock position, let's move to the extreme ends, shall we? Notice as we do this, it sounds more hi-fi. This works in tandem with the high knob on the EQ side. As you find a good spot for the presence knob, you may notice some additional harshness. Dial the treble knob back a bit to compensate for what has been added. Keep in mind, we don't want too much high end, especially if you're recording in a mix. You'll be layering guitar takes. High frequencies compound with multiple tracks. And while it may sound good on its own, once you've layered 2 to 4 tracks, you may find the high end becomes overbearing. Would you listen to that? Music to my ears. Now that you seem to know what you're doing, let's apply the same practices to an amp modeler. We've got quite the selection here from Neural DSP. Go on, pick your favorite. It works with all high-gain amps. Ah, the Fortin Cali. Excellent choice. Before we start, ensure your input level is correct. Heavily palm mute and chug away for a bit. Increase the gain until it begins to clip. You will notice it turning red on your input level. Now let's dial it back a little until it's no longer in the red. Now back just a bit more than that to ensure we have more than enough headroom. Sublime! Let's track a little ditty, just so you're not trying to play and make adjustments at the same time. That's groovy! Set everything to noon again, onto the cab section, and let's set our high capture. Now the low. Set your gain. Saturate those tubes. Now the low, middle, and high knobs. Remember to make big sweeps first. And last, balance the presence and treble knobs. Eureka! You've done it! You now have all the knowledge to get an amazing guitar tone no matter what you use. To take it one step further, let's track 2 guitar takes of the same riff. Now add a bus channel for your pan tracks and load your plugin on that bus channel. Engage the stereo switch and hit play. Now pan each, one to the left, the other to the right. Hear that gurr! Let's add an equalizer just after the amp sim. Loop your recorded riff and insert a low-pass filter. Now move it down until you hear any unpleasant fizz magically disappear. Following that, we can add a high-pass filter. Now move it up to approximately 100 Hz. Increase further until the sound becomes weak. Now bring it back just a little. This gets rid of any unwanted rumble that may clash with other instruments later on. Now you may still hear 1 or 2 unwanted frequencies in the high end. Let's see if we can't identify those with a sweep and cut them out. Excellent! Now we can mix things up a little. Let's bring in some friends. Oh, would you look at that? Now that we've got a full band together, let's play it back and have a listen. Oh, it looks like Junior is very pleased with himself. And he should be. This sounds sick. Now you give it a go. Comment below and let me know if this helped you finally achieve the tones you've been chasing. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and ring that bell. Until next time, keep it groovy!